All right, man. D.L. Hughley saying, man, we got to talk about this guy. Now, we ain't really talked too much over the weekend, but I know we both seen this. I'm like, yo, I told myself I'm going to screenshot this shit because what he said infuriated me in a certain way. Now, D.L. Hughley saying, man, he put this up on the heels of Joe Biden coming out and saying that if you ain't black, pretty much, if you voting for me.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he comes out and puts, you mad Joe Biden said, Joe Biden. Joe Biden. You mad Joe Biden said you ain't black. I'm mad Trump refused to hang the portrait of the first president in the White House. Get the F out of here. Now, again, this thing now, Joe Biden was pretty sitting there with Charlemagne earlier during the week. And he was just talking all this rhetoric type shit. And next thing you know, he just burst this thing out. And immediately after he says that, everybody's going in on him, and then he issues an apology. But then you got these people who are supposed to be standing up for black people or the voices of black people immediately sweeping this under the rug like a D.L. Hughley and say, man, I don't even care about that. I'm talking about Trump. I think this is the fundamental problem, in the black community. But before I talk and go into it, Sam, man, what did you think when you seen this clip or this thing that D.L. Hughley put up?
We didn't talk. Me and you didn't talk about this, but obviously I seen it just like you did, and I laughed just like you probably did, and I said, here we go. This is some of the shit that we be talking about.
Right.
Maybe if we don't mention names per se, but this is the shit we be talking about, where it seems like some of the black media, in particular some of the famous black media, or some of the famous characters or some of the personalities in Black Hollywood seem like they're working for the Democratic Party.
All day.
Point blank, period.
Yeah.
D.L. Hughley had a show on CNN where he was obviously vouching very heavy for Barack Obama during his election years. I remember watching the show. I thought the brother was highly intellectual at the time. Obviously, as a black man, was voting for Barack Obama. Who wouldn't want to see a black man sitting in the presidency? Who didn't? Who wouldn't? But what we fail to realize, or a lot of people in the black media fail to realize, is agendas were met by Barack Obama, but the black agenda was not.
Right.
And criticism isn't given to him the same way criticism is given to other people on the other side. Now, what Joe Biden said was absolutely fucking ridiculous. It was retarded. It was ridiculous. And this is why you won't see, and I tweeted this, politicians on this platform. We've had lawyers. We've had shout out to our man over in Atlantic City, Mayor Marty Smalls, who came on the platform and was very, very transparent about anything we asked him. That's a real brother. Outside of brothers like that, I don't see any politicians coming on this platform, because we're not going to let them just chuck and jive around no bullshit like that. What is your plan for black people? It ain't just, if you ain't blue and you ain't voting blue and you go for racist Trump, then you ain't black. How fucking dare you? And for Charlemagne to let it go, even though he obviously didn't agree with it and said it afterwards, I thought was crazy live. I thought that was crazy. And for D.L. Hughley to go and try to flip it around because Donald Trump did not want to put Barack Obama's face on there, some ignorant shit. But why are you playing sides, bro?
Right.
And the sides is what bothers me. I'm not sitting here saying you got to go for Trump, you got to go for Biden, you got to go for red, you got to go for blue. But you as a voice in the black media are clearly trying to sway black people and black eyes a certain way, and that's divisive and that's whack.
And he's probably getting some type of a check, some type of kickback, from the Democratic Party. And it's sad because how he wanted us just to sweep that under the rug as if they're comparable. Him not wanting to put the Obama's face up and him saying you ain't black if you don't vote for him. That's crazy. But Joe Biden, man, it was a clip that came out earlier today, and this is why I say you guys got to be careful, because you see people hobnobbing with Hillary Clinton. You see, and this is not going to the Breakfast Club Day or nothing like that, but you see him with these politicians on there, and you think it's just a red and a blue thing, but it's like, all right, that's cool, but what do you stand for? What are your politics? You can't just feed me, you got to be this because this person was this, and my parent was this. You got to show me your politics. What do you stand for? Now, a lot of people forget about Hillary and the crime bill and Joe Biden, and I'm going to play exactly what he said real quick, Sam, man, so we can refresh everybody's memory on how he really feels about black people.
It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I want to ask, made them do this. They must be taken off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society. And the truth is, we don't very well know how to rehabilitate them at that point. That's the sad truth. I'm the guy that said, rehabilitation, when it occurs, we don't understand it and notice it. And even when we notice it and we know it occurs, we don't know why. So you cannot make rehabilitation a condition for release. That's why in our system, there's the federal system, you serve 85% of your time. It's a shame, but we don't know how to rehabilitate. But there is a consensus, and I will cease. We must make the streets safer. I don't care why someone is a malfactor in society. I don't care why someone is antisocial. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, try to change their behavior. That's why we do in this bill. We have drug treatment and we have other treatments to try to deal with it. But they are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. But we would be absolutely stupid as a society if we didn't recognize the condition that nurtured those folks still exist. And we must deal with that.
1993, Joe Biden going all the way. I'm not sure if you heard that, SamAnt, but apple don't fall too far from the tree with that type of situation. Again, we know the Clintons and their politics, and it's very close related. Even we know Hillary Clinton came out and called black people super predators at one point. So what are your thoughts after hearing that commentary by Joe Biden back in 1993?
Got a lot of thoughts now. As an adult in 2020, I can't help but to think of the Central Park Five back in April of 1989 that were convicted in 1990. Everyone saw the documentary. I'm sure if you're watching on Netflix, it was a great, well put together series of what happened in the events of the Central Park Five. And one thing that was very highlighted was Trump's depiction of the 5 young men that were convicted and what should happen to them. But let's not forget that was in 90. In 93, the crime bill, 92, the crime bill started to come making its way around. And this is exactly the kids that they were fucking talking about. But we don't hear about that. Them predators, them animals in the street, them kids that they just all look at the same way, which is our children, people that look just like us at the time, 93, we're 10 years old. That's you and me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In 15 years, we're going to be the menace in 15 years. And now you come to see that this is the same 15 years. You're asking the same people that you call predators to vote for you in an election. It's funny, but you don't hear about that. You don't hear D.L. Hughley talking about that. It's all about the red and it's all about the blue. Right. Now, in 93, like I said, we're 10 years old.
Right.
In 93, we
10 years old.
Yeah, we 10 years old. And I can sit back and think about this vividly. It was all about Bill Clinton. It was all about Democrat. It was never about Republican. We were taught this in our household. We were taught this in not necessarily in school. We heard different things, but in our mind, it was programmed to go Democrat. Right. And you see what was going on while we were sitting back programmed to go for him. We owe ourselves more, and it should be a lot more of a responsibility that we take as people to disseminate the proper information. Unless you're getting paid to do otherwise.
And we need organization. We need serious organization for people who can actually put something on the table and say, all right, this is what these people need. You know what I mean? And when I mean these people, I mean blacks first and the minorities second. You know, you got to go to the areas where the people need the most help. So that will mean when you go into the inner cities, you're not just going to only have blacks. You're going to have Latinos. You're going to have East Indians. You're going to have even some people, some Caucasian people who are maybe lower. Mm-hmm. All of these people need to get the type of reform and structure, as opposed to just saying, let's throw them away, because that's what society is doing, regardless of any of these, what are these politicians, regardless of what they're saying. You know, we got to look at what's going on in a prison and seeing what's going on and through the neighborhoods. And it's been a direct correlation. I think I heard one of the politicians admit this once again, the reading levels, you know, automatically correlate, you know what I mean, to the prisons. And we heard other people talking about it, but I heard that just recently again. So it's just like, what does that tell you? That means you need to go in to these inner cities and to these impoverished neighborhoods, and let's start to educate these children, you know what I mean, on how to do better. Not just say, okay, they come up right here, let's just quarantine them off from society. I don't care how they got there. You got to go in and you got to help. So we need a president, not no Bernie. I ain't even going to Trump sitting there. He's doing the best he could do. Not just because you're black, not just because you're blue, not just because you're red, because you stand for our agenda. So be careful about all the celebrities you see, whether it be the D.L. Hughleys or the other people that are caping and running around, because they're not going to show you that deposit that they're getting from a Democratic National Convention to propagate their message. They living good. They straight. But the people in the ghetto and the hoods is the ones getting the brunt of this shit. So you got to be careful, man. And, you know, just to cut this short, because we got another interview that was supposed to be doing, man. Think. Be thinkers. Yep. Think. Don't just see because he's black or this person is this, that they got the best interest for you, or because they're blue, they got the best interest for you. No, look at their politics. Look at their track record. I mean, people probably didn't hear that Joe Biden clip until now, until they heard it on the podcast. Look at what they stand for. Look at what they've done. And then if you can show, all right, this person did this and their track record is this, I don't have no problem with you picking a side. But if you don't know that, don't just pick it ignorant. Like you said, we owe ourselves better than that just to go for a color because somebody said do it. That's crazy.
Hey, man, we're going to leave it at that. It's the SamAnt Viral Hip Hop News, OGOD Hip Hop News Uncensored. Hey, yo, hit that 5-star rating if you're listening. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification bell on whatever platform you're listening on. We got an interview coming up momentarily. If you haven't checked out any of the interviews we got going on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast, hit them playlists, go through the catalog. We got the baddest people in the industry sitting right here at our doorstep in our living room, giving us the best interviews, man. That's all I got, big dog.
Yes, sir. Hit that 5-star rating. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button and make sure you share this video. It's the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast, another segment in the book. And don't be trying to flag our videos either, DL. Come sit down like a man and talk with us, man. But all right, man, we out of here, man. Peace.